My name is Chinmay. I head sales for APAC for Onebeat, and we today are going to be talking about how we can derive profit from precision using inventory to ensure that how the right inventory can help you improve your profitability. So we have an entire solution around it. So before we begin, if you could have a very short round of introductions, it would be fantastic. It would allow me to understand and be more connected to your background and give examples with which would be more relevant to your environment. So can we have that? Yeah.
I had the supply chain for Apollo Pharmacy. The supply chain is common for pharmacy and 247 verticals. So overall, I have around 16 years of experience. Prior to this, I was working with Amazon, and prior to that, Flipkart, and across 3-4 other.
I am Sikander from Technovision, a retail mobile store in landline phones selling in Banjara Hills, road number 12, 1988. I am the managing partner for Technovision.
Hello all, good afternoon. I am Suresh from RS Brothers Group. We have around 71 stores all put together in all the brands and AP and Telangana. Good to see you all learning some great things today.
Hi everyone, myself Umesh from Taruni Clothing Private Limited. I got 20 years experience in retail. Earlier I worked in Woodland Shoes and Apparels. Now recently joined in Taruni Clothing Limited. Thank you.
Sharan, I'm the CEO of Happi Mobiles. Now we are heading towards our 100th branch very soon in the next week. So we'll be 100 stores by next week. So it's great to meet you all and expecting a groundbreaking and a huge learning from this platform.
Manpuria. I'm the Customer Success Director for APAC for Onebeat. I have 15 years of experience in retail and consulting. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Pankaj and I'm Chinmay's colleague. Again, we are in CS team, so we are more into the implementation part, and this is just a new experience for us to see how this part happens.
Hey, hi everyone. Good afternoon. So myself Vishal Sisodia. I have around 20 years of experience into the IT domain. I am the IT head for PMJ Jewelers. We have around 40 plus stores across South India, and looking forward to learn from everybody that about the inventory handling and all. Yep, thank you.
Yeah, hi. Myself Siddharth Agarwal. I'm the Chief of Staff in PMJ Jewelers. Been with PMJ from almost 11 years, and overall I have 15 years of experience. I'm into basically business operations, the entire regular operations and all. So looking forward to get some insights from this session. Thank you.
Thank you, Siddharth. Hi, my name is Rahul. I'm the founder of a company called Pollination Ventures. We bring global retail tech startups to India, especially in the enterprise space. We've partnered closely with Onebeat to help them expand and grow in this region because, like all of us know, inventory is the heartbeat of most of our organizations. If you get it right, profitability comes right. If you get it wrong, growth is a challenge. And we've been doing this very successfully through Goldratt for the last 14, 15 years, and now Onebeat as a solution company for the last 4-5 years. And we've helped a lot of companies get this right. So on that note, welcome you all and thank you for taking the time.
So if you, like Rahul mentioned, we come from this family of Goldratt group. Goldratt, Dr. Eli Goldratt came up with theory of constraints, or TOC, like it is called in the operations world. To allow you to understand TOC in a very simple way, it's about what is the focus of the organization. Okay, the entire philosophy of TOC is with respect to what is my current focus as an organization and how to ensure that we move towards it. For example, like the name suggests, constraints. Okay, so let's say as a group, my focus is to get more profitability. So then I'll identify in my processes what is stopping me to achieve the profitability that I desire, align certain processes. Let's say I identify a constraint. Let's say my constraint, for example, is inventory. I'm not having the right product at the right place at the right time to maximize profit. Like I have the product, but it is in a different location. So how do I ensure that I identify that constraint, exploit it, elevate it, to ensure that I solve it to improve my profitability and then look for the next constraint? That's where TOC comes into picture. And the reason I mentioned focus is because since we have an array of roles here. We have someone who's heading supply chain, we have a CFO, we have operations, we have different people, okay, coming from different roles, and each one has a different lens to look at the drive that additional 5% year on year growth that we are chasing every year for on the bottom line. Can we deliver that? Okay, so we use the same concept, which is theory of constraints, and we have blended it with technology, which is using AI, machine learning to learn from my existing environment, from my clients, and to ensure that how can I service them better? How can I get better from whoever is already loyal to me? Okay, because there are times that they reach my store and I'm not able to convert them. Correct? I'm sure a lot of you know that, okay, this if these days we are in the world of CRMs, if you track your customer, you might observe a change in pattern year on year at a customer data level where they might have spent the same amount of money that they did last year. Are they retained or have they added value? All these are very important statistics. But to ensure that the customer comes and converts, that the traffic that happens in my store converts at a time when there is extreme competition. Because if you today observe in retail space, if I enter a mall today, my similar brand is just next to me. Correct? So if he does not get what I have to give and it is available in the next store, I have already lost the customer because there is enough cutthroat competition. He's already competing with me on prices and so many other aspects. Correct? So that is how we use technology and the concept of TOC to ensure that we deliver more profitability. Now let's understand how we do it. Okay. So first is, this is a question, I would appreciate if as an organization you would answer. What are we chasing today? What is the focus? Is the focus growth or is the focus stability? Now, if you actually ask this question to each person, each person is in a different stage. Like for example, Sharan just said we are opening our 100th store. So I'm sure most part of the focus is growth. Correct? But like, CFO sir from Neerus said that I've been here for 17 years. So today probably the focus might shift to stability. Correct? Each organization operates on a different lens. Okay. Now why? Why is this lens very important? Because that's my focus. Now, if my focus is growth, I'll be more focusing on acquiring new consumers because I'll be opening more stores and so on. Now, when I'm focusing on growth, it's very easy for a lot of you to also understand that my stability goes for a hit. I'll give you a very so I'll not name the brand, but there's a brand that is chasing an IPO. And if you look at its past 5-year financials, they've got repeated funding. It's a jewelry brand. Now, when they are looking for an IPO, and if you look at the last 3 years data, you'll see they're struggling with cash flow despite getting good, valuations and funding. Why? Because they went from 60 stores to almost around 120 stores. So when they opened up more stores, okay, their goal was growth. They wanted that if I open more stores, I'll see an increase in sales. But probably somewhere they compromised on the inventory part. Okay, because jewelry is a complex environment. I'm sure Siddharth and the team will know at PMJ. So it's a very complex environment because each player has a different. But what happened in terms of the profit books, my cash flow is struggling. I'm not able to convert enough consumers and it is showing as a hit. So the real question that as at organization level we need to ask is, do we need a stable growth or should we only chase for growth? Stable growth, right? Now, it is easier said than done. Because everybody wants stable growth, but it is at what lens do we look at? From how do we, because there are so many changes happening in an environment day to day. Now let's try to hit on that. So today, if I want stable growth, what are my hurdles? So there are 3 major hurdles whom we call as engines of disruption. Okay, let's go to each one by one. The number one is consumer personalization. Okay. Now, why is this such a burning desire? Consumer personalization. I'll give you this very simple example. So I come from a very small town in Maharashtra. Having bread for breakfast was a very common thing. Okay. So when I used to go to buy bread, let's say 15 years ago, at that point of time, market had only one bread, which was white bread sandwich, and at times there would be milk bread. Today, I challenge you to go to that bread alley in a in a supermarket. There is brown bread, there is wheat bread, there is multigrain bread, there is butter bread. There are at least 7 to 8 varieties. Now, where did that come from? It came from because there are consumers asking for it. So, as a retailer, I do not want to miss out on a sale, so I kept adding products in my alley. Now, when I added it, did my problem increase or reduce? Definitely increased. Now imagine I'm managing only one store, then I'm okay. Because I know what is the demand, who wants it, and it is easy. But here we are living in an environment where we all try to focus to either be a regional brand or be a pan-India brand. Now when my focus is to open more stores, like sir said from RS Brothers, 71 stores, 71 times complications. 71 different profiles of consumers, 71 different types of penetration. So all those aspects add to the personalization. Somebody wants different kind of bread, somebody wants different kind of something else, and it keeps adding. Am I right? So now what happens here is I tend to offer more to my client to get a conversion. Now the question is, how much is enough? Where will you draw the line? How many options will you give? Now, if I have to talk about medicines, today we live in a generic drug environment. So one paracetamol will have a crocin, will have a dolo, will have a calpol, will have 5, 6 options in the same drug. Okay, everyone will be random. Now each partner servicing the same drug will give you a better offer because they want to increase their sales as well, because the supply chain is linked from a different brand altogether. So the complexity increases there. Then again comes a question that how do I personalize it? How do I address all the consumers? That's the first challenge, correct? The second is the tolerance time. Thanks to 7-minute deliveries that we today brag about, everybody wants it here and now. If you do not have it, no consumer today wants to buy it from you. They will go to the next shop and buy it from you. In pharmacy, it is in fact even adverse, because if they do not get it from the pharmacy they go, high chances they might never return to the pharmacy, because in their mind, this pharmacy will not give me at least 2 of my needed drugs every time, correct? Now it's not their challenge because there are so many, it's such a wide assortment. Similar is with, I was sharing an example of denims. That today if I go to a mall, there is a Levi's, exactly next to Levi's is a Pepe Jeans or a Wrangler or something. There are 3 to 4 similar product stores in one segment. If I'm looking for something, I go into a store, I do not find that product, I know in the next 2 or 3 stores I'll find a similar product. So what is happening? My tolerance time has died down. So I need it now. So what is it? It gives me availability. I need to ensure that my product is available. Now if you look at both these challenges, both these aspects will make us put more inventory in the store. Not reduce, put more. Why? Range, give more options. Second, ensure that it is available. So earlier I would keep 5 pieces, now I'll keep 7, 8. Why? Because I don't want to lose out on a customer. But then the CFO sir will come and say, last year you ran the store with this budget, now your budget is increasing. Where is the profit? Correct? So that's where the bottom line is again. Then comes the third part, the freshness or life cycle, like you say. Because today, even if we go to the world of mobiles, every 6 months there are 10 new mobile phones launching in the market with 4 new colors each. So 40 new combinations with certain other like 8 GB, 12 GB, other those variants. How much will you keep? And how will you manage that life cycle? Because before the trend diminishes, you have to sell it and move away from it. Else you are stuck with it. Correct? Now these 3 disruptions, okay, are unique to every environment. If I talk to someone from jewelry, they'll say we have such wide assortments. Like we have so many options in one store, and since they have 40 multiplied by 40, consider the challenge. If, RH Brothers does, let's say, saris, same challenge, because there's so many options in saris. How will you identify it? How can you fine tune it? How can you narrow it down to that level? Okay. So these are the engines of disruptions which compromise our, stable growth. The factor that we are looking at is compromising, because in now handling all of this, the merchandising team has to give answer to people. They have to answer why the sales are not improving, and they also have to answer why the inventory levels are going up or going down. Why is there a shortage? Like, if they do not buy enough, the question will be like, okay, why did you not trust this product? And at the same time, the second question is, if you buy more, why did you buy more? Now, I want to ask all of you a very simple question here. How many of you feel that because there is so much of chaos, okay, let's squeeze it at the entry itself. Let's buy better. Okay, and that buying definition comes from a very simple word called forecast. That let's ask our team to forecast better so that we capture profit at source itself. Correct? It's a very fancy problem to solve. Correct or not? How many of you feel, okay, that if you today sit and tell with so many dynamisms, imagine there are so many levers. Do you think it is easy for any of your team to go and predict what can sell, what cannot sell? You cannot. The moment you write any number down, the probability is 50-50. You have a 50% chance of being right, you have 50% chance of being wrong. Now, this is where the question comes, then how can I add that additional 5%? Because that was my original focus. This is all. So, okay, range can be taken care by the buyer. Okay, availability can be taken care by the supply chain team. Newness again can be taken care by the merchandising team. But as a group, how can I align my focus to profitability? So this is where we introduce a new perspective, that is merchandise management. Okay, what is merchandise management? Basic decision making at a merchandising level, how to take certain decisions within the organization to ensure profitability. Okay, so I have defined merchandise management into two parts. One is efficiency, which is called doing things right, and the other is effectiveness, which is doing the right things. Okay, now there's a very thin line in understanding between both of them. So let me help explain what does this mean. Efficiency is whatever processes I have in my store, okay, can I ensure that those processes are followed 100%? That will define my efficiency. The second is effectiveness, is what processes I have defined, what is the effectivity of it, how linear it is. Okay, so now let's understand it from the perspective of, let's say, a simple action. Let's say bestsellers. Okay, now when I open, let's say, 40-50 stores, okay, what is my number one challenge? I want more predictability. I want to know that when I open my 41st store, what SKUs will for sure sell. Like, my brand is known for that. That's the first variant. Let us call it as bestsellers. Now, all of you sitting here, you have different varieties of products in your store. Correct? Let's say if I go to a jewelry, there is chain, there is rings, there is necklace, there are bangles. Okay, if I go to saris, there are so many different types of saris today. Okay, if I go to mobiles, there are accessories, there are additional things that you'll bring. If I go to medicine, these days there are protein powders, there are health supplements. That's a completely different industry. So the first question that I have is, how do I have a common bestseller ground? Okay, now one aspect, the effectivity, is defining that bestseller for each location or global, local, different way, and the efficiency is ensuring its availability. That if I have defined this a particular product as available, then my efficiency is in making it available. Like, if I, for example, if I walk into a let's take mobiles for an example. If I walk into a store and I know I want to buy an iPhone as a consumer, okay, and for that store, for that brand, let's say Happi Mobiles, I know that this product is my bestseller. What are the chances that they go stock out? Are we measuring it today? High chances we might measure for top 5 or 15 or 20 SKUs. And trust me, this is with respect to our experience into across retailers. Like your merchandisers will have the top 5-10%, products on the top of their head, which are global. But I want to ask you a question. Do you know even the global bestsellers are tail in some of your locations? They are not performing in a lot of locations where you have already bought inventory for them. Okay. Now comes a very simple question. Why? Because the lens is too wide. Okay. When you are taking a decision at a global level, it is very easy for any person to think about it. It's a very simple calculation on Excel, right? These example, just take 40 stores. This is my SKU that has sold the most. This is my bestseller. It's not that easy. We need to go to a bottom level. This might have sold well in 35 stores. What about those 5 stores? What is selling well in that 5 stores? So imagine now, how many of you feel when I'm saying this, you feel ki nahi, this is a little complex? How many of you feel ki we need to go down? Do you feel that? Right? You need to go down. Now the challenge is, can we go down without using technology? Is it possible to rely on just a merchandising team who's doing it? Because think about the roles or tasks that he or she has to go through on a day-to-day basis. He has to reorder, he has to ensure availability and everything. For him, what is easier? Just divide it by 40 stores and make availability easy. And this is where again the precision comes into picture. Okay. Now I want to ask the CFO sir this question, because finance comes into that picture. Forget the top 10% SKUs and forget your worst performing 50% SKUs. How many times you feel you forgot to identify opportunity between 20 to 40% SKUs, like your middle performances? There are always a lot of SKUs where you could have sold more, but you ignored because they were not in the best sellers, and you also ignored because they were not in the bottom sellers. You were like chalta hai types. Okay, this product was not available, it's okay. And that is where that 5% is hidden. That is exactly where the 5% is hidden, and that is exactly where technology helps. Now to answer the same question again, if I'm looking at the top 10% and I know I need more availability, I'll overbuy it in all my stores. So when you question, you'll say, the product is available, but the finance team is unhappy because you have bought more than what you need in a lot of locations, just because it is a top seller somewhere. And the same is reverse. When you have bottom sellers which are not performing in any locations, there are few stores where it is performing well and it is starving there as well, because you identified and took such decisions. So why am I going to this depth is the difference between efficiency and effectiveness lies there. Effectiveness is how effectively I define my bestseller, and efficiency is how effectively I keep checking it. I keep checking my ground rules. Okay. So Dr. Eli Goldratt, he used to tell very, about technology. He's like, the only time you need to introduce technology to an environment is when you're very sure that you want to remove a limitation. Okay, the limitation in your environment has to be diminished. But the challenge is we go for, let's say, a big ERP to get more transparency. But then I'm sure every finance head has questioned, what did this ERP add value to our environment? We paid so much for technical implementation. What am I getting in return? One person will say visibility. But with all the data, reports and files that you're getting on a day-to-day basis, what is my action? Where am I taking action at it? All that data is only noise. I know what is my shortages. I know what is my surplus. But what am I going to do with it? Exactly. The difference at effectiveness and efficiency is that action that you take. Okay. Now that action can be as simple as redefining bestsellers every 3 months. 3 months ago, because again, like we said, we are into a world of fast fashion. So I'm sure Taruni clothing would be knowing much better. They are into women's fashion. So a pattern that did well 5 months earlier, very high chances 5 months later, that pattern does not even make sense. But imagine if there are no gates to identify. If you are not able to observe that, just to add to more to that example, let's say you introduced a design, it did well, you identified it a bestseller, you asked, you bought more. Now that product is slowly moving to a slow mover, but you're treating it only as a bestseller. What will happen? It will happen in resulting into that product being surplus. Now, this is the reason why we need multiple gates. We need decision making at different level. More number of decision making, gates that you define and you rely on, the better you are at deriving that 5% from your inventory. Okay. Now let me answer one question that I asked on the last. You remember I said about forecast, that we all want to forecast better. I want to put a thought in front of you. Okay. You have two ways to live. One is predict better. Let's assume it's a crystal ball. I cannot. What if I tell you, whatever I have bought, let me distribute and execute it better? Whatever I have already bought, I have released orders, I have already bought. What if I show precision in executing that better? Let's say, let us take example of mobile phones. I only bought 100 phones in a particular brand, and I'm asking for more because I'm feeling it, I can buy more, or I feel it was doing good and I could not buy more or whatever. But now I have 100 phones. Can I ensure that I distribute it in such a way that I have the best sell through possible from that? Now, if I focus on this criteria, because again, what was my focus was not to sell the best mobile phone to capitalize profit. My goal was to make more money than more profit than last year. So for that, each phone, whatever I have bought, even in that belly region, head, belly, tail, even in that belly region, don't you feel my goal is to ensure, if I focus on the goal that let's squeeze as better as possible, don't you feel I will make better? I'm asking, what are your opinions on it? What do you feel? Is it a better way to still focus on forecasts, or better? Definitely we need to improve buying. I'm not challenging that, but I'm saying that's the bigger problem to solve. The smaller problem, whatever I bought, can I squeeze it out quickly? Can I use it as a lever to reduce it? And that is exactly where Onebeat comes into picture. So as a tool, our goal is to ensure that we do those actions which are extremely difficult and complex for any common retailer with a decent merchandising team to focus on, because it's not possible to go into the details. Okay, now how do we do it? So before I move, I would love to know from you, do you have any questions until now, or you have your certain opinions that you feel you would, you want to share? Anyone?
I think, like you said, forecasting is a complex process, right? So what, uh, especially in case of medicines, right? For example, we have around 1.5 lakh SKUs that we have to deal with on an everyday basis, and plus pharmacy as an industry, the substitution workflow is not that great, right? So customer will only buy whatever doctor has written in the prescription. So forecasting, of course, needs to be. It's very complex, especially for the pharmacy industry. But one thing I wanted to understand is, when you said the forecasting is one piece of it, I don't know whether it's a part of this proposition. But apart from that, what is the execution thing that you were talking about, right? So I would want to see the example of how, for example, in pharmacy, I don't know, we can buy, but we cannot push sell to the customers, right? So that is where the constraint lies. So I would like to understand how this helps.
Anyone else would love to add something?
Uh, we are from Neerus. It is a ladies' fashion brand, ethnic wear. In the forecasting thing is very much applicable in the fashion sector, because if we are not able to do the forecasting, we are not able to attend the festivals and marriages and everything. The forecasting thing is very much applicable in our industry.
We all are aware that the forecasting is important, but how to achieve it accurately is the theory of constraint. We know the ARIMA model, we know the various things that the AI and the ML do, but to remove the seasonality and the noise from it is where the acme and the precision lies. So if a tech is enabling that, then in our sector where there is a perishable goods like sweets, that is very important, and to have a seasonality as well as the various forecasting models to be performing better will be a good thing to look at.
20,000 rupees. That's the highest selling kind of price range. So in the 15 to 20,000 rupees, out of your 70 stores, there would be stores that need like 20 options, and out of the 20 options, it's able to effectively sell 17. Great performance, right? But another store, even the 10 options that it has, it's not able to sell probably 3 also from that. So there, you probably can take a decision from 10 I want to reduce it. So wherever you're seeing that that particular price range or that particular feature is doing better, you have a bigger variety, and since you have a bigger variety, whatever is there in your warehouse, most likely it will bring it down to the store which has the greatest selling store. So that's one way to address it. Model specific as such, the system doesn't have.
Searches can also be used.
Yes.
And I think probably you may do it already. Yeah.
So
probably you may already do it, but
yeah. So using all these rate of sale in that particular location. So they would feed us that what is the grade, and basis that grade there was a maximum cap. So decisions like this have to be, you have to give a way to feed some information to Onebeat, and we can make use of that information. There was a bookstore vendor in Mexico that we work. So for books, there is a top 50 bestsellers updated, every month. There's every month top 50 regional bestseller and national bestsellers. So they populate that on to Onebeat to publish that what are the books that come what may should always be available. Okay, because that's the data that is out there in the market. Okay, so they give us that access to that data on a monthly basis, and we ensure that the population of those products happen in that way. So customizations specific to environments can be made and automated. See, the goal to this is when I'm making so many gates, I cannot keep the gates open all the time. The reason why there is complexity in every environment, if I have to ask you that why is there a shortage and surplus in the first place, the moment you go down to basics, you will identify there was a gate that was either left opened or ignored. Correct? So any times the better you compliance you have to the gates that you establish, and the revision, okay, the boundary conditions have to be revised, automatically you will get what you are searching for. Okay, so I'm just leaving you with last 2 case studies that we had. One of these case studies is for a jewelry environment called Thangamayal. Okay, so there are a lot of screens, and I realized later that it is not that visible, so I'll make it very easy. So when we started working with them in around 2018, they used to operate around 28 stores with 1000 kgs of gold. Okay, now around 18 months later, they ran the same 28 stores with 750 kgs of gold with no dip in sales. Now 250 kgs of gold reduction. So if you follow their share prices, you will understand a decent amount happened because of the inventory, visibility that was provided to them. The same happened for DP Abhushan. It is again a listed jeweler. Look at the share prices and look at the inventory reduction that happens. Now again, why? So this, when I'm talking about inventory norms, okay, let me also talk about the assortment norms. Like I said, we create assortments at price band attribute level. We map it that what percent, this is the surplus percentage, this is the shortage, and this is the okay inventory, which means if I'm saying that for me to be as effective as possible, I need to have 15 options in one place, and let's say only 3 or 4 are effective. The rest is surplus. Okay. So if you observe over a period of good 15 to 16 months in jewelry, it came down to almost just 11% surplus. Okay. How are we cutting down out of that inventory? That is how. Because the gate is put strong, the gate is revised every quarter, observed, learned, and slowly with time, you will start reducing that inventory. Now, there's no only credit to us, a lot of credit goes to them for following the gates as well, strictly. Defining something, coming and telling one time is very, very easy. Sustaining to it year on year, managing it is where the magic comes. Okay, so although they have been, they have grown a lot using our services, a lot, congratulations to them to ensure that they follow the gates with precision. Okay, similar results were achieved by a large value retailer, which is a value retailer in the segment down south, more than 200 stores. We saw in terms of sales, we had promised them that with respect to this process, it was a consulting engagement, that you would achieve around 5% sales growth, but it happened to be 6.6. And the warehouse turnover as well improved from 4.6 to 5.1, because they are an environment where 30 to 40% of the products are core. So the reason I'm sharing these insights is our goal is always to ensure that we improve your inventory turns, and at the same time we help you focus on improving profitability only using whatever you have bought, and then giving you signals so that you constantly keep buying better. Okay, with pharmacy, the advantage is most of the time the SKUs remain same, so the predictability of the algorithms get even better as time goes by, because we capture years and years of data at a particular location, so the predictability is extremely fantastic. So what is the precision that you can arrive? Like we said, the module started as profit from precision. So all I shared is all these processes, parts and places are still exist in your organization. We are just a layer that will add more precision to it, add more gates to it, so that there is refinement in finding that 5 to 7% bottom line year on year. So any questions? And we realize India does not have a very common ERP ecosystem, and everywhere everyone has to go through that struggle. So we integrate with CS, but we focus a lot on automation. Although the tool can function with manual inputs and all, we do not prefer it, because it's a compliance breakdown for us, because then we do not know what to do and how to get better at it. So our intent is to always ensure that the ERP automates all the files and processes, and we execute it accordingly. So BI tools will only inform you. We act on it. If you observe, we took action. Replenishment is an action. Okay, ensuring that the variety is there is an action. Life cycle, like for example, identifying best sellers and populating is an action. Identifying slow movers and converting it into a store transfer is an action. So Onebeat is an action taking tool. It is not a BI tool. So think about it. It's a very wrong example, but think about it. When let's say you start a own organization and you have a new CEO, you will feed information to the CEO, but the role of the CEO is to take decisions. So Onebeat is that. So your ERP feeds data to Onebeat, and it knows I define the gates. Onebeat will take actions with respect to the gates. Simple. So it is not a BI tool will only give you reports. Okay, now what do you understand with the report? What do you perceive with the report? What the team perceives with it is a different norm. Like I said, that any ERP report can give me what is my aging inventory, but who will tell me what to do with that aging inventory? Correct? So that's where we stand out from a typical technology perspective, or a ERP or a BI tool. Any further questions? Yes.
In a typical customer onboarding journey for you, who will be the top one or two important stakeholders? And then maybe 6 months, 1 year down the lane, who will be the one who would work with you?
Okay.
So that the best value is generated.
Correct.
Because organizations are complex, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's a very good question, actually. So it always starts from top down. Like the organization leaders, it is usually the CFO and the CEO, the people who look after operations and the finances. For them, it is the focus point is inventory. However, the people who use it on a day-to-day basis is the merchandising team, merchandisers, planners. Because for supply chain team, it's the output that is necessary, but the feedback received goes to the merchandising team, who will take actions on it and receive. So we have a very simple process. So from the day we start, we form a steering committee which has the CEO, COO, everyone leadership, because they need to have visibility of what's happening, because in a way this is digital transformation. It's not easy. You will always have people down who will feel that they are overpowered. Okay, that earlier they would do what is wrong in what they do. That change management has to happen, but there is more visibility. Our intent is to not replace. I often tell this, that in organizations when we go, our goal is to not to replace, our goal is to enhance what they do. Okay, when you look at replacement, you're talking about automating a particular thing and ensuring the person, but enhancing is using even what the daily knowledge the person has to make my gate better. Like today, when that person is doing everything manually, okay, he's using a lot of his own intelligence, which might be useful for the organization, but is not visible. So these gates will make that portion also visible. That we defined a gate using data, but he gave us some insight, which would be, something that we could not derive from data. So our goal, our end users are usually the merchandising team, but our happiest referrals come from CEO and CFOs, because at the end of the day, it reflects good in the profit books. Any further questions? So,
what is the duration you require for the accurate prediction?
So we definitely do a first 6 months to begin with. 6 months to a year is more than enough to begin with, to set the first gate. Then it is on the go. So for fashion environments, we in fact get to precision within 14 days itself. Within the first 2 weeks, go. But for
Specific, like the jewelry.
so like that's why I said for the first 6 months to a year, we take data to try to come to a conclusion that what should be a gate. Like for example, assortment definition. So for jewelry, the assortments are extremely wide. So for us, that 1 year data will cover all the seasons for us to predict that what should be the gate to begin with. And like I said, every quarter or 6 months, we revise the gate. We see the what has been happening, because for a jewelry environment, if it is a necklace, at times a bestseller necklace is 120 days. Okay, so now for me to take a decision on whether it was a good or bad, I need 4 months of minimum in-store inventory. So hence at times certain categories are only looked after 6 months. But for chains, for bangles, for let's say rings, it is probably every quarter.
Second question is where is you deploy your module? So basically, since I am
So
the
for
IT background,
worries.
it is my concern, because the security.
No.
Is
So
the
for
concern.
jewelry, most of our like Tanish, Thangamel, Carrot Lane, they have, or it the entire tool is on their server only. They have complete access. We get whitelisted IPs. Only couple of people from the organization are allowed to access. But we provide like few organizations, because we do not come under GDPR. We don't take any customer data, so we can host uh, for the customers as well, but it is optional, up to them. So fashion also same. So for fashion, we even have a very advanced tool coming, which is on a multi-tenant tool, which is on cloud, where it has even amazing features where we use AI to even predict your special events, that what can be the seasonality that can come and so on. So for now, we have couple of clients who are already using it, and we are trying to get better with the algorithm, because that's how cloud data works on. But the only aspect of that is that's a cloud. That there the data completely lies with us. Yes, 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 yes. Depends on case to case, because like you see, so it's not something that you implement and you'll see results immediately. That the reason we rely on automation is 6 to 8 weeks are usually the implementation time which we go live. Uh, After that, it is with respect to how you follow. So we can do certain POCs agreed, but our ideal POC also goes between 6 months to a year, because that's that minimum time you need to get output on an inventory perspective. Think about it. Let's say you're an apparel environment. For in 6 months, you'll replenish only 24 times. So you'll definitely see improvement in availability and everything, but that number for you to get reflected will take some amount of patience. In jewelry environments, actually the result is very, you can see visible results within the 6 months itself, because there will be definitely reduction of your surplus. It will not be a lot, which we see, but still it will be visible enough for you to take good actions. So in India, we usually work on annual contracts, minimum a year, because it's not that we started like that. We used to work on 6-month contracts as well, but then we realize, see, it's a process where both handshakes are important. I'll tell you, I'm ready to give you a tool, but if your team does not listen to the tool, what good is the tool? So it has to happen both ways. So hence the minimum commitment we work is with 12 months, where 2 months is implementation and 10 months is result. But we do quarterly reviews and monthly reviews, which will show visibility and confidence ongoing as well. And we have a big list of clients. You can walk us to a booth. You can take feedback and take actions accordingly. Okay. Thank you very much.